Ever get feedback on your writing that actually makes you feel worse instead of better about your piece? Finding a good critique partner can literally make or break your growth as a writer. So today I'm sharing 5 things to look for in a good critique partner, plus one truth that no one likes to hear, but we all need to. Let's go. Welcome back, plot pilots. Oftentimes, we think of writing as a lonely journey. You're locked away in a cave, and the only source of light is the bright white of a blank Word doc on your laptop. But I'll say it once, and I'll say it again. Writing is community. But what makes up a good writing community? The answer is good critique partners. And good critique partners are hard to come by, but when you do find them, they can help bring your writing to the next level. Like I said, here are 5 attributes to look out for when searching for a good critique partner. First thing to look out for is you need to read each other's work, and you need to like each other's work. There needs to be a level of respect and mutual admiration. Now, this is not to say that they have to write the exact same as you, or share the same themes as you, or have the same style as you, but you want somebody whose writing you thoroughly enjoy reading. So find a critique partner who respects your voice as a writer and is someone that you can respect as a writer. And that way, both of your writing skills can come together to bring differences in opinions, maybe differences in styles, but you both genuinely like each other's work. On that note, the second thing you want to look for in a critique partner is diverse perspectives. You do not want to create an echo chamber with limited perspectives or limited points of view. The easiest way to be missing some major blind spots in your writing is if you're surrounded by people who just kind of sound like you or write like you or at your level. Personally, I like to surround myself with people who I really admire in terms of writing, and I really like what they bring to the table. I also like getting in touch with writers who have completely different background stories than me, whether that be their cultural identity, their life experiences, or even their training. For example, I have 3 really close critique partners that I adore. One of them has a really good screenwriting background, and one of them writes with such an amazing heart that I can see him writing children's stories. And the third person is the funniest writer that I know. All 3 of these people have very different backgrounds and very different tones, but when I talk to them, they provide a vast amount of differing perspectives and feedback, all of which are things that I would not be able to spot by myself. Some of the best feedback often comes from people who don't see the world the way that you do. 3, this one's really important. When somebody gives you feedback, you want to make sure that the feedback they give you is constructive. And not only is it constructive, but it has to be actionable. What does that mean? Well, it's not really feedback if somebody reads your work and says, your idea kind of sucks. And I've seen that across the board. And it's one thing to just administer your opinion, but it's another thing to be a good critique partner because you have to give somebody constructive, actionable feedback. What does constructive or actionable mean? Constructive means they have to be able to build upon this feedback. Whatever somebody gives you, you have to be able to take that and continue to make your craft better. Actionable means that this critique should be precise. They should point out something in your writing and how you can improve it. Or say, hey, I really see where you're going with this, but I want to see this expanded more. Perhaps you can dive into the details. Can you go into the 5 senses? What does this thing smell like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? I want to dive deeper into that world, and I really need you to paint it for me. That's actionable because you're giving someone something to do to help bring out their story more. So like I said, a good critique partner just doesn't administer their opinion and say, I didn't like that. I didn't like this. This sucks. That's not good feedback. Feedback needs to be constructive and actionable. The 4th thing that you want to find in a good critique partner, I kind of touched on it earlier, but here we're going to dive into it a little bit more. I had brought up my 3 critique partner friends, and the reason why they're great critique partners is because they have different writing styles. Now, I talked about how they have different backgrounds, but their style of writing is also very different. Think about Lemony Snicket versus J.K. Rowling. When we look at Lemony Snicket's writing in a series of unfortunate events, his writing is very sarcastic and witty, and he's directly addressing the readers. And although the content of the story is sad, the way that he writes it is very comedic, and it makes the audience feel kind of weird. Are we supposed to laugh at this? Are we supposed to feel sad about these characters? And that's why Lemony Snicket has such a unique voice and style. Now, when we look at Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling's writing, Harry Potter is built around the concept of whimsy. That's why a lot of the names are so silly, and a lot of the things that happen are so ridiculous, because the tone is whimsical and the style is very youthful. Another couple writers that I like to shout out here are Anne Liang, where I recently read her book, A Song to Drown Rivers. I also read Iron Widow by Shiran J. Zhao. I hope I'm saying that right. I am so sorry. But anyways, those last two books that I mentioned have an incredible style that is very beautiful in the way that they write prose. There are several moments in those books where I'm reading the prose and I'm like, wow, this is so floral. This is so elegant. So don't just surround yourself with writers who have different backgrounds, but also writers who have different styles, because that will help you kind of identify what your style is. And finally, the fifth thing, and kind of the hard truth that we all need to hear, if you want a good critique partner, you yourself have to be a good critique partner. Part of community and finding a community is being someone who contributes to it and helps uplift it. You have to be what you want to receive, right? That old adage of treat people how you would like to be treated, it applies everywhere, especially in the writing community. And why is it so important to be a healthy, good critique partner? Writing is an incredibly vulnerable experience. You are sharing a piece of your soul with somebody else. The stories that we write, whether they're written well or written poorly or a work in progress or under construction, everything that you pour out onto the page comes from somewhere that means a lot to you. And so if you really think about it, next time somebody hands you a piece of their work and you read it, I hope that you handle it with the same care that you hope somebody handles yours with. Quality attracts quality. So don't just stand there and wait for the perfect critique partner to appear. You are going to attract good critique partners by being a good critique partner. Offer to beta read for somebody. Make some writers friends. Ask them for their opinions. Be the person that you want in your corner, and those people will find you easily. I hope that these tips helped you, and I hope that you can come out of this being a better critique partner than you were 5 minutes ago. I'd love to hear from you guys, so please drop your worst critique stories in the comments below so we can all see what we shouldn't be doing to each other. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications from me. And while we're on the topic of critique partners, this is probably a good time to mention, I run a Discord of over 150 writers. And all of these writers have been vetted to make sure that they are healthy, good critique partners and healthy community members. And because they've been vetted, if you would like to be a part of this Discord, the application is linked below in the description. Again, this is not a hard test and the Discord is completely free. There are resources, authors from all different backgrounds, writers from all different industries, but the common ground is that we're all trying to make stories. So if you are interested in something like that, if you haven't found a good critique partner before, this Discord may be a good place to start. We look forward to welcoming you to Plot Pilots. If you would like a more concise version of this video, I also write blogs, and I will link that in the description below as well. And until next time, Plot Pilots, let the stories take flight.